Dog poop from space. It all started like any other evening. How was I supposed to know it'd end up the way it did? Besides, I never believed in aliens anyway. At around 7 p.m. I was in my home office, desperately trying not to reach for a cigarette and just finishing up the editing of photographs I'd taken for a company's real estate portfolio, when my dog, a corgi named Charlie, began scratching against the front door. Though I needed to finish editing, I rather didn't want to have to scrub dog crap for my new shag carpet, and so I set my work aside and grabbed the leash. A few minutes later, we were strolling beneath the dusking sky, cutting off from the main drag of the neighborhood and heading down the tree-laden trail behind the apartments that leads to a local nature preserve. Charlie's tail was wagging furiously as he took in the scent of scurrying wildlife and the sights that the sky's dark orange light cast through the forest's swaying foliage. On we walked, neither of us with an inkling of the horrors to come. Soon the sky had transitioned to a brilliant red, with swashes of purple rippling across the horizon, warning of a night soon to be upon us. I was just about to tell old Charlie it's time to hightail it home, when all of a sudden there was a flash from the sky, like a massive light bulb burning out over the treetops. Yet through the dense canopy that was all I saw. But the sound that followed was clear and deafening, like a kamikaze going Mach 1 straight towards the earth, followed by a muffled but ground-shaking impact as it struck its mark. Charlie barked relentlessly at the anomaly, trying to tug me towards the direction of it, and adventurous at heart, despite the rapidly approaching blackness of night, I let him lead the way. We broke through the woods at the edge of a far-stretching wheat field, where in the distance we first glimpsed the curiosity that fallen from the heavens, which in the middle of the clearing, it crashed in a blaze of burning crops and smoldering ash. I had my cell phone out, for I thought I was coming up on the debris of a helicopter or small plane, and there might be injured people badly in need of paramedic expertise, but as Charlie and I approached the flames, it became apparent that was not the case. The scorched area was the site of a round crater, roughly 3 feet deep with the width of a child's kiddie pool. It was surrounded by several other smaller craters, all of which containing small, alien-looking rocks that glistened green in the firelight. It was an asteroid, eerie but beautiful. I was transfixed and momentarily mesmerized by the strange gleaming stones, and part of my mind reeled with thoughts of how this might bring me fame and financial gain. I was broke from the trance by the sound of a wet lapping. Imaginative conjurings of slimy aliens emerging from the dark holes flooded my mind before I spotted the source of the noise. To my horror, Charlie was licking crazily at one of the small green space rocks. I quickly pulled on his leash and tugged him away from his snack. Who knows where it's been? I reprimanded him, and he heeded. The moon was now the primary source of light. Darkness was slowly giving way to pitch, and I had astrological societies and news organizations to now call, not to mention the fire department. But before we began our journey home, I picked up one of the green stones, which was cold to the touch and became blue without the yellow of the dying flame, and placed it in my pocket. Back at my house, I placed the asteroid fragment on the counter where Charlie, who was eyeing it, could not get to it. I then went and poured myself a drink to calm my nerves and subdue some of my excitement before making any calls. After quelling the edge with a stiff and iced measure of Jack, I went back to the living room, where I'd left my phone. There, squatting, with a look of shame you'd expect to find only on the most remorseful of men, Charlie was taking a dump, right on my new shag carpet. Burning agriculture be damned, this was my new carpet. I think I then may have screamed for the first time in years. However, it would not be the final time this night. I sprinted to the kitchen, grabbing paper towels and pre-treatment carpet spray, then dashed back to the living room. I then stopped dead in my tracks. Charlie was growling at his poop. His behavior was unacceptable, and I was about to reprimand him when the poop on the floor moved. I told myself it was the Jack Daniels on an empty stomach, but when Charlie barked, I nearly jumped. The poop moved again, barely, but surely. I snapped at Charlie to heel, but heed me he did not. He proceeded to bark at his turd, even as twisting white tendrils, hair-like, rose like wiggling spider silk from its surface. I dropped the supplies to the floor, the corgi's manic barking becoming but an echo in my mind as I watched the dog's excrement sprout in numerous wispy appendages some of which finding the carpet and pushing against it as if trying to raise the bulbous brown lump. Others grew straight up like stalks, which like flowers formed buds, which like a nightmare became eyes. Charlie dove to attack the creature, and I snagged him by his haunches just before he got to it, yanking him away and screaming as I ran us both to the bedroom. I didn't know what to do, but I didn't keep my dad's mean old 12-gauge for sentimental values. May he rot in hell. I grabbed it out of the closet and sucked both a slug and a buck into its double barrels. It was supposed to be for home invasions, but now I guess it was for space invasions all along. I kept Charlie locked up in my room as I, weapon at the ready, made my way back to the living room. I cut the corner, ready to blast that sucker through the wall, but it was gone. The front window was broken, dripping at its jagged shards with diarrhea-like bile. The creature had jumped through the window and was now loose in the world. What have I done? What have I helped unleash onto you people? I don't know. Alas, I don't want to know. I have suffered enough for my error in judgment, for when I returned to my bedroom minutes later, Charlie had grown legs from places legs were not supposed to grow. Legs that weren't of a dog, nor of any other creature nor insect of this world. His eyes had sunk into his small skull, but dozens more had popped up through the fur of his forehead, milky white, unseen, yet all-seeing. His chest split open, and his alien arms from within his slithering guts reached out with clawed hands. I put both barrels into Charlie's monstrous face and ran like ever-living hell. This is what happened, and I swear it to be true, on all that is dear. I decided in haste to document this nightmare presently and promptly, for the hand that I used to pick up that cursed rock has already begun to change color, with thread-like hairs growing forth from its pores, like tiny stamens from a hideous flower, filamentous papillae. I can see them moving, and I know my only hope is amputation. The end.